Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So, what are we going to be doing? Well, I'm not very good at filming over multiple days and not losing pieces and parts of the video clips. I don't know how that happens. But what I am going to try to do for this week of the Three Rivers Challenge, and this is actually week 4. So you may have seen, well, you will have seen prior to this, some of my plans, some of the things I was doing for week 4. But I decided to challenge myself, and I am going to use the very last whole chicken that I have in my deep freeze. So I've been thawing it in the fridge, and I want to see if I can make this chicken. Now, y'all realize it's just one person I'm feeding. Feed me in several different ways for an entire week. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a roast chicken. And some other thoughts that I've had, and y'all just have to stay tuned for the later in the video. Other thoughts I've had is chicken salad, because I did just make bread, so I could have chicken salad. I may try to make some homemade flour tortillas and do like a chicken enchilada dish. I will be making a chicken soup as well. So first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cook this in the crock pot today, because I'm gonna scrub my potatoes up good. And these are the yellow potatoes from Azure Standard that I shared on my Azure haul. I'm so excited to have potatoes, y'all, and chicken, because those are two things that I enjoy eating. So these look beautiful. Very nice. So got those washed up. So let me scoot you over here, and you're gonna see, Kym, you're using plastic in your hold on guys. You're using plastic in your crock pot. Well, for me, part of the pantry challenge is looking at supplies. I don't know what else to call it. So paper goods, things like that. And I have a ton of things. When I cleaned out my mother's home, when she moved into assisted living, she had so much like wax paper, parchment paper, freezer paper, crock pot liners, things like that. So a lot of it had been in my long-term pantry. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the end of my slow cooker liners, y'all. Still hiccuping. And these, I probably bought them for Mom, are the Boulder, so they are from, did that not turn on? Oh, okay, I guess you gotta do manual. We'll just turn it on low. I haven't used crockpot for a while. So when I am going to roast a chicken and then use the leftovers in multiple applications, what I like to do, I love a whole roast chicken. That's something that my mom did on Sundays. So I like to keep the seasoning really, really simple, because if I'm using it in different applications, I may not want a certain herb or flavor within the chicken that may clash with something I'm gonna do later down the road. Let me grab a knife here. So I have an onion. So I'm just gonna slice that into the bottom to add some flavor. Now, if I was simply going to be serving like a full meal of roast chicken for a crowd, and it wasn't gonna turn into anything else, I would be putting, you know, poultry seasoning type seasonings, sorry y'all, in there, because it really does impart a lot of flavor. I'm not a person that likes to put the butter under the skin. I don't eat skin, so even though it might help keep the chicken moist, tip you down here, I prefer not to eat it, and that's just a me thing. All right, y'all. I hope this is thawed. It has been in the fridge for 2 days. And, oh yeah, I think it is. A lot of liquid in the bag. And these are the Kirkwood chickens from Aldi. It came in a 2-pack. Let's see if I can tell you what I paid. So it was 10.54 pounds, 95 cents a pound for a total of 10.01. And I won't tell you how long it's been in my freezer. But I will say, when you have something in your deep freeze, it really makes a difference in how long it will stay fresh. So I did clean the sink before I started anything, but I wanted to do the potatoes before the chicken. So usually their chickens will have the parts. And this is still a little frozen, so I may have to pull out. Yeah, looks like we got. Let me struggle with getting the innards out, and I'll bring you back. Done battling the chicken. One of the things to note about the Kirkland whole chicken 2-pack from Aldi, the neck, the liver, the gizzard, the heart, all of those things, they are not in a bag like you would think of a turkey being in a bag. So you may want to double check your thawing. I just struggled and got it out. So as I said, I'm going to do this very simple. Just some freshly cracked black pepper. I put about half a cup of water in there. And I'm going to put maybe 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm not a heavy salter. So we've got our potatoes and onions in the bottom. And I will tell you, this chicken is pretty fatty, which I could have cut off. But that's going to make some good broth. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to use the liner. It's a little easier to recover and strain the broth. The crock pot that I happen to have, it's a Hamilton Beach. I've had it for 1,000 years. It's a little bit heavy, and if you're trying to do this when the pot is still warm, it can be a bit of a struggle. So one of the things I've learned through the Pantry Challenge already is carrots are life. Y'all, I had to talk myself off the ledge yesterday because I wanted to eat the jar of carrots. I've really been craving carrots, so it must mean my body needs them, right? So for my February Azure order, I went ahead and put carrots in my cart so that I would have them going forward, because as I mentioned, even though I'm not going to persist beyond 2 months of dedicated Three Rivers Challenge, Pantry Challenge, I am going to continue to try to lower what's in my pantry. The other thing I'm going to be refrigerator thawing. This thing is heavy. You may have seen the video, I'm going to pick it up this way, where I made some bone broth in the Instant Pot with the apple cider vinegar to draw all the really good benefits out of the chicken broth, and that is a 1/2 gallon. I did not can it. I froze it because I wanted to retain all of those healthy properties. So I'm going to thaw this out because it will give me options for soup, for chicken and dumplings, which that sounds really good too. So I'm not sure what all I'll use it for, but this has been in my freezer for a few months and it needs to be used. And you may notice it still says sugar 322, and I'm usually very good about labeling things, but here lately I found a few things where I haven't erased what I've written and rewritten some things. So let me give you a couple other thoughts. I'm going to clean this mess up. I washed my dishes and I just have this on low. I have to go do a couple things today. It's Monday, January 22nd. And tomorrow is my son's 23rd birthday. I wish, because that would make me, I don't know, a lot younger. 39th birthday. So I will definitely be doing a few things tomorrow to, even though he's working and lives 4 hours from me, you know, I'll be calling him and sending him messages and perhaps Amazon gift cards. So let me clean this up. And I want to tell you a couple things that I'm learning this year, even though it's my 4th year, as I go through the pantry challenge. I hope you'll stay tuned. So as I learn lessons about things I did well to prepare for winter and things that I didn't do so well, I'd like to share them with you. One of the things that I didn't do well is I don't have enough canned veg. And I find that shocking, but I had so many tomatoes that it kind of overtook my canning sessions last year. I have plenty of beans, plenty of jelly, I have condiments, I have, peppers, I have some fruit, but I'm like rationing the carrots. And a lot of people don't like canned carrots. I love canned carrots, but I grew up on that, so maybe that's why. And I do put onion soup mix in my carrots before I can them. So I need to, now that I have a larger garden space, I'm going to need to grow more carrots. I need to grow a type of onion that isn't as strong as what I grew last year. It was supposed to be a yellow onion. It was definitely a white onion, and they are powerful. So those kind of things, as we start to get our seed catalogs, are things that I'm making note of. I would like to have a way to store root vegetables better than what I have now. And what I'm finding now that I have my 1951 Philco is it does a much better job of keeping root vegetables cold than my modern refrigerator without allowing them to freeze. So that will be something that I will probably change up. I do not have a root cellar. Wish I did. I don't have a cold storage room. So really either freeze drying, canning, or refrigerating are my options. Another thing I realized, I shared yesterday, well, yesterday as in from today, but when you're watching this, I'm not sure what day it'll be. I have been keeping track of how many jars that I've actually emptied, because that kind of gives me the attaboy that I need to say, okay, you're doing a good job. You're getting through a lot of jars. Your freezer can breathe. And I'm not going to take you on a refrigerator, freezer, pantry tour today. It's going down, but it's so minuscule that y'all probably can't even tell the difference. So one of the things I realized is I really need to go through my 2 canning pantries here, as well as all of the overflow that is in my long-term pantry, and make some hard decisions. So I never like to put food by and then not use it. But if something has been sitting here, and I found a couple things since 2020, because I really don't like it, I'm not gonna eat it. So letting it sit in the pantry, take up space, make me have to juggle, it's not a good thing. So I think making note of those things that, I thought I would like this, but I didn't, as a reminder, because I love to can, and I will can things sometimes that I won't end up eating. So another way to be frugal going forward, or a good steward of your food. My final suggestion, and then I'm gonna end it for this part of the video, stay tuned, there's more to come, is y'all start yourself a list. Isn't this cute? I've started a post-challenge grocery shopping list for things that I am doing without, but either I'm out of it or I'm going to need it. That way you're not so overwhelmed when you go to the grocery at the end of the pantry challenge and you over purchase. You know exactly through the challenge, oh, hey, I found a great sub for this. I don't really need to buy this. I need to use this instead. It's really going to help a lot in not ending up spending more than what you saved by doing the pantry challenge. And my final thought is, as I'm doing my seed ordering or seed perusing, I haven't ordered anything yet. I need to inventory my seeds and see, kind of plan out my garden plot. Also look at your canning supplies, guys. I realize when I can the cranberry juice, I need wide mouth and narrow mouth lids. Excuse me. I'm getting very low, so prior to the canning season, I like to start picking that stuff up or ordering that, looking for coupons, looking for deals. sale alerts, that type thing. So don't forget about canning supplies as you plan for what you're going to do when this pantry challenge ends. So I will maybe give you a quick shot late today for my dinner and show you what my chicken #1 dinner looks like. And then I'll bring you back when we do the second thing with the chicken. All right, see you soon. All right, 7 hours on low. Perfectly done. These thermometers are great. This is an oxo thermometer. You want to check the breast and the thigh. And I forgot to mention I roasted it breast side down. I think it makes for a moister chicken. I did add about ½ a cup of water to start, but look at all these delicious potatoes and onions and all of the broth and juice. So I am going to let the chicken cool. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let it rest. Then I'll serve myself. Then I will actually go ahead and take all the chicken off of the carcass in preparation for meals later this week. All right, y'all, ready for day 2 of what I ate this week in the pantry challenge. So yesterday I tore all of the chicken off of the bone, saved the drippings. I have some leftover potatoes, but I'm going to try to make this chicken last for several more meals. So I just made up 1 serving of chicken salad with homemade relish and a little bit of mayonnaise. Very simple. We'll put this on homemade bread. And I still have some split pea soup, so we will have soup and sandwich for a dinner tonight. Over here in my oven, I actually have, let me show you, some very delicious and almost done blueberry lemon oatmeal bread, which also helped me use up a lot of things from the Wednesday. Continuing on with our chicken palooza. Y'all, I'm about freezing to death, and it's warmer today. I don't know. I just got chilled. But I want to say, this is probably the only time in the pantry challenge I'm going to do like multiple meals for a couple of reasons. One is I don't normally change meals every day. And number 2, what I'm realizing is some of the videos you won't have seen yet where I've made some of the ingredients. So yeah, anyway, what are we having? Well, we're going to have some chicken. I'm going to call them soft tacos. So I still have quite a bit of chicken left, and I'm still trying to save quite a bit because I want to make soup for my last chicken use. So I will have no problem getting 5+ dinners out of this. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just taking some of this cold chicken. I'm going to shred it up. I don't need like a ton of meat. And I still have like half of chicken breast. So I still have quite a bit of meat in here. A lot of this broth, I'll skim the fat off. I will use that. I will reuse the potatoes and the onions as well. So my goal is that nothing goes to waste. So I've put a little chicken here in my bowl. And y'all, these were Boston baked beans that I made in June. So here's what I can tell you about them. They're pretty much like refried beans. They're not as much like what I would have thought Boston baked beans would taste like. They're not bad. They make a great refried bean, but they're not so good for, you know, just eating as a bean, so to speak. So let's see, what else do we want? I think I'll wait on the cheese. I'm going to just microwave this a little bit and get it hot, and then we are going to put it on one of our homemade tortillas, and you'll see that video upcoming. Here we have our beautiful homemade tortilla, and the recipe that I used, I wanted to use my own home ground grain, and it's not super big, like you could wrap it up like a burrito, but it'll make a perfect large soft taco. So to that, I'm working my way through the cheese, y'all. I'm going to add a little bit of cheese, and we'll just hit that in the microwave for a minute. And sadly, I'm opening my last jar of salsa. So note to self, I will need more salsa for next year. I have a little bit of sour cream in the refrigerator. That thankfully I covered that bowl. I just heard it go kapoo. So I'm gonna grab that too, and we'll build ourselves a taco. And then stay tuned, because by popular request, we're gonna do another Ninja Creamy drink, and I want to share how I did it. So another thing about my Boston baked beans, because I do have a video on making them. If you go back to the video, if you're following that video, they're so not salty enough. I have a tendency to undersalt and add salt. So I did add a little bit of salt. Let's pop this in for just a jiff here, maybe 12 seconds. And I think this is going to be a fabulous meal. I'm finding I'm using a lot more of my plastic ball and Walmart lids. Oops, shut myself in the drawer. Okay, good, that knocked the chill off. Made it nice and soft. So let's spread our warmed up. Wow, that's going to be a big taco, Kym. And if I had things like fresh veg on hand, I would certainly add that. But I don't, so I won't. So, yum. Some nice chunky salsa. And, well, maybe a little bit of sour cream. Guys, that's not, that's double dipping. I had something on the spoon. Always smell it. A little sour cream on top. There you go. Wow. That's like a chalupa. So let's give it a taste. I might have to have 2 of those. Wow, y'all, that is really good. So I'm going to go enjoy my lunch, and then I'll bring you back because we are going to make a frozen coffee drink. So stay tuned. It's delicious. One filled me way up. I hope you'll stay tuned for how to make your own homemade tortillas. I'm kind of impressed with how easy it was, and so delicious. Okay, so on to making what will forever be known in my mind as a crappuccino. So the reason I misspoke that way was I was thinking cappuccino and cremacino, which is what it's actually called, and my mouth and mind got all mixed up, and it came out crappuccino. So yesterday, I did my freezing. You do need to pre-freeze for 24 hours, so you have to menu plan a little bit on this. So what it said is put 1/3 cup of granulated sugar in the bottom, add 8 ounces of coffee, hot. So what I did was I added Splenda, 1/3 cup, my 8 ounces of hot coffee, and for a little something extra, a couple squirts of this classic hazelnut syrup, because I'm not going to be putting, excuse me, y'all, still have the hiccups. I'm not going to be putting like chocolate syrup or whipped cream or anything in there. Then the last thing I added was 3/4 cup or 6 ounces of half and half. Now I keep half and half and whipping cream in my freezer, in my deep freeze. You've probably seen it on freezer tours. It's not the same as fresh in that it has a tendency to separate, but it works totally fine. Now what it says to do, so you filled it up to the freezer fill line, add up to the drinkable line, you're pouring, but it doesn't say what to pour in. So I happen to have some cold brew that's been in my fridge for quite a while because I haven't been able to drink it, and I've smelled it and it seems totally fine. So that's what we're going to use. I will say that that sour cream. I'll see if y'all have ever heard this term. Have you ever heard the term on something that is not spoiled, but it's on its way? It's about to blink. That's what my dad always said. I think it's a country term. All right, so I'm gonna put on, let's see here, put on my lid. You install the bowl, turn it to the right until it clicks, turn on the power, and select full, and then cremacino. It takes 5 minutes. It is very loud, y'all, but I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead and blend this up, and then I'll bring you back for a taste test. The truth. The more I use this, the easier it becomes. All right. Ooh, that's more like a, yeah. Like that's like bite. Oh. I'm in heaven. It's kind of like a little thicker than a milkshake. Wow. I was a little concerned because I used artificial sweetener. It is delish, y'all. Y'all put this on your wish list. I have had so much fun with this creamy machine. I think, well, this might be my favorite. I think I want to try just some canned fruit. The next thing that's empty, some home canned fruit. So I want to give that a shot too, because you can just do it in fruit juice and fruit. So that would be something good. I'm not a good fruit eater. All right, guys, well, I'm going to go eat a little bit of this. The nice thing is you can totally refreeze it and respin it. That's what I really like about it, because I'm not going to eat this whole thing, even though it's sugar-free. It is full of half and half. So, you know, everything in moderation. So that's it for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow with what will be the last part of, I think, this video, which is making our chicken soup. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Welcome back to the final segment of this video. It's actually Thursday here. You're going to be seeing this on Sunday. After doing some thinking, I know it will be a little confusing because some of the things that you may see me preparing or eating, the video that shows how I did it and has the recipe is going to follow it. So going here forward, I'm probably not going to do one video with everything I did with all the meals because I feel like it's repetitious and a little bit confusing, maybe only to me. So this has been the chicken that has kept on giving, but I've really enjoyed it. So let me roll my sleeves up here. I just washed my hands. Y'all, I might have to order me some smaller britches. If y'all notice like a big wad of fabric right here, I actually had my pants rolled up three rolls. It's partly a short girl problem. So, super simple. Y'all know how to make soup. And I want to thank, I did not ask if I could say her name, so I won't say her name. I want to thank the subscriber that mentioned these super cubes. And I'm like, oh, ow. That's going to leave a mark. What is that? Because I'm going to need that. And it is so amazing. It's like they have a lot of configurations, but you can freeze your soup into smaller servings. That's one of the things that I like because I love soup, but sometimes I don't want to have to eat a whole quart of soup, which would be 4 cup-sized servings of soup of the same soup. So there, I will link them. Let me make myself a note. They're on Amazon Prime free same day if you order $25 worth. Okay, the ones that I will link. So the first thing I'm gonna do, y'all, is I'm gonna take out the onions that I cooked in here. I can't give you a good explanation why, but they came out super tough. It might have been the onion, but it just seemed like a regular old onion to me. So I still have a lot of chicken left, a lot, like this plus. So I am going to make a chicken vegetable soup, and I'm going to use up the rest of this chicken, the chicken broth, and I won't call this bone broth because technically bone broth, you have you know, some vinegar in there and you pressure it, and that isn't what I did at all. Yeah. There's a lot of chicken in here, y'all. But I am going to use it. I am going to scrape the fat off of it. And then I have 4 taters left, which I will add just to warm up because they're already fully roasted and I don't want them to turn to mush. But that way, y'all, nothing goes to waste. So let me skim off this fat. So what I have is this jelly-like broth. So yeah, probably some great properties in this. Those daggone onions. So how is the pantry challenge going for you all? I would love to hear. I love it when people are like, I haven't broken pantry challenge, and I'm like, I have. Or the Three Rivers challenge. I think it used to be called the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, but whatever you want to call it. Jessica puts up her weekly summary on Sunday, so I thought, well, you know what? There may be a lot of people watching YouTube on Sunday. I generally don't post on Sunday because I know a lot of people are, you know, busy with church activities and such. Yeah. And y'all, I wanted to say one other thing to you. In Ohio, and this is no judgment to anyone, in Ohio, marijuana recreational use was recently approved, and I don't understand YouTube well enough to know, are the commercials I see the same commercials you see? I don't know that, but y'all, when you're a YouTuber and you're monetized, that's just water, you have no option as to which advertisers post, you know, choose to place ads on your video. So you can have anything from adult incontinence products to mood gummies. So I just want to make that very clear. Again, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying that I don't pick them. So I'm going to be using my Victorinox knife. Guys, these are great, and I love having these knife covers because they really do make I think a big difference. Y'all, I usually try to do it with let me just do it right-handed so that I'm not twisting my back towards you. I always try to link products again in the description box below, but sometimes I forget. So if I forget and you want to know something, please just leave it in your comment. I still read each and every comment. I respond to each and every comment. So I'm always delighted to hear from you and help you out however I can. So let me put this back in that so that I don't end up with those tough old onions in there. So what do you all like in your veg soup? I never met a vegetable soup I didn't like. I really like it with cabbage. I don't have cabbage. Might be something that goes on my grocery list. What I will say is, as I mentioned earlier, I've been keeping a grocery list, and y'all, I found so many substitutions for things that I'm like, no, I need to use this up, or dug a little deeper in my pantry, and by golly, I already had that. Excuse me, still have the hiccups. So as of right now, I did order my 4 jars, lids and, I'm sorry, just lids, wide and narrow mouth because they were on sale. Wait, I used Jessica's coupon. They weren't on sale, but I did get free shipping. So I have 50 narrow mouth, 50 wide mouth coming. I think that will easily get me through canning season because I still have quite a bit. I just know myself and I'm probably gonna need more. I do not reuse lids except for vacuum sealing. That's the only time I reuse it. Okay, so to start with, y'all look at all that chicken. I'm going to just put my chicken in the crock pot. The other thing I didn't mention to you all, this bird ran a lot. He was a tough old meat bird, let me tell you. Even cooking it in the crock pot, it wasn't the most tender chicken that I'd ever had in my life, but that's okay. I think the second cook is gonna make a big difference. So, because I'm going to use my home canned bone broth, I am going to put a little bit of salt in the soup. This is about, I'm gonna say 2 teaspoons, but we're gonna make half gallon of soup plus probably. I'm also going to use my freeze-dried onions, and they'll rehydrate just fine. This is something I need to get used up. As I mentioned, they were supposed to be yellow onion sets. Those are the strongest onions I've ever eaten. I don't have any celery, but I do have celery seed. And even though, oops, okay, I don't need that much. Y'all know I am not a fan, I'm gonna do like half a teaspoon of celery. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this in a little bowl and fuss with it later. I like the flavor, but I just don't like the texture of real celery. Now, let me go ahead and set this on low. I want this to simmer for hours. It's about 7:30 right now. Still dark out, but I will say we had a nice warm day yesterday. Okay, it felt like a heat wave. Wait, let me hit enter. My girls were so excited, but then it rained most of the afternoon. But they got out to play a little bit. Okay. That was not sealed. It's just, it sucked down because it was in the freezer. So there is a bit of fat on the top. You can choose whether you want to use that or not. I am going to actually try. Ooh, that still has some frozen in there. Well, that'll be all right. Wow, that's been in the fridge for like 2 days. Okay, let me pop that up to high. We'll get it started that way. And I don't know where all that fat went. I was gonna take it off, but you know what? Let's not worry about that. I'm just gonna go ahead and dump it in, then I can fish it out of the crock pot a lot easier. There we go. Or maybe just leave it. All right. So this is gonna make a lot of soup. So some for now, some for later. This bone broth has been in my freezer for a little minute, so it needed to be used. So let's grab some frozen veg. I'm sorry, guys, I should have had to. All right. So this will be 2 more bags out of, sorry about your ears, of veg out of my freezer, because they have been in here a little bit. Throw, you know, over your shoulder for good luck. They're not freezer burnt, thankfully, but they were in my inside freezer because I do make quite a bit of soup. And this one has a little bit more ice crystals in it. Now you could add whatever spices you like. You could put some sage in there. You could put poultry seasoning. I do think I'm gonna add just a little touch of black pepper. Yeah, buddy. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's pop it a little, oops. Helps when you take the spoon out. Gosh, that's really, really thick. It looks delish though. This is a very large crock pot. Okay, let's lock down our lids. I'll let it go on high for about an hour. Then I will turn it to low, and I'm just gonna let it simmer low and slow till late afternoon, when I will enjoy some vegetable soup and freeze the leftovers. So I hope you've enjoyed this week of meals. Again, I don't think I'm gonna do it this way next week, but I did want to follow through on what I said I was gonna do. Plus I've been filming every day this week. So I wanted to definitely bring it to you. I will see you all on my regular schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Lord willing, next week. I already have Tuesday's video done, getting ready to film Thursday, so aside from the hiccups, I'm feeling great. Another thing I found in my pantry, y'all, I used to drink out of these circle bottles all the time. You know, they have the little cartridges. Walmart now carries it, I noticed. And I found that I still had a couple cartridges. So I'm like, I'm not gonna drink out of my sippy cup. I'm gonna drink out of the circle bottle. I'm gonna use that up. It's watermelon, it's delightful. This is my second water already this morning. Heavy drinker. All right, guys, I will see you on Tuesday, but until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.